Secretary Kennedy is giving a platform to people who lie about vaccines to the American people. When Kennedy appeared before this committee, I said I did not want any more tiny coffins in our country. I meant it, and I hope you will be forceful in pushing back against Secretary Kennedy's wrong assessment and messaging on vaccines.
Do you agree with Secretary Kennedy's decision to fire all 17 ACIP members on the basis of conflicts of interest?
So look, the American restoring trust in public health is a critical priority. For me, it's a critical—
Doctor, I would really just love an answer. Do you agree with that?
I agree that the secretary had to make a decision.
Democratic senators there pressing CDC director nominee Susan Manarez on her views of Health and Human Services Director Robert F. Kennedy Jr. during her confirmation hearing yesterday. Manarez appeared before the Senate Help Committee, where she was peppered with questions on everything from rural health care to overdose deaths. The hearing, though, took a turn when Democrats questioned her about Secretary Kennedy's decisions on vaccines. The overhauled CDC Vaccine Advisory Panel, mentioned by the senators there, held its first meeting at the same time as the hearing, and just weeks after Secretary Kennedy fired the entire 17-member panel. Kennedy replaced them with appointees of his own choosing, some who have expressed vaccine skepticism. In the meeting, the members announced they plan to review the childhood vaccination schedule, a standard that has been approved for decades. The panel added they could also consider revising long-standing vaccine recommendations. So, joining us now, NBC News medical contributor Dr. Vin Gupta, also with us Dr. Fiona Havers. She recently resigned from the CDC over HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s vaccine policies. Dr. Havers, start by telling us what you expect from this new panel. You've resigned from the CDC, but when you look at the new panel, what do you think of the makeup of it?
I would say the makeup of the panel is very different than the 17 members that were fired. Those 17 members were highly respected vaccine experts. And I watched the meeting all day yesterday, and I would say the quality of the questions, the tone of the questions from almost all of the members on the new committee were not the same type of questions that the previous ACIP members would have asked. They, generally speaking, not going to name names, but the people that are currently on ACIP, by and large, are not the people that should be sitting on that panel.
Dr. Gupta, let's go to you on this. Set the stage for our audience, please. Just how important is this panel, and what are your concerns about how you see it now?
Well, Jonathan, building on Dr. Haber's point, this panel can be consequential, has been very consequential in the past. Us as clinicians across the country look for their recommendations to then recommend what our patients should be doing when we're visiting with them in clinics across the country. This notion of, they've moved towards quote unquote shared decision making, that we should be having conversations in a lot of cases on whether a family should or should not be getting vaccinated, when previously it was very clear what families should be doing to get vaccinated on a lot of these vaccines. When I hear from clinicians, my peers across the country, they say, Vin, we don't have enough time in a quick 15-minute visit to engage in these types of conversations, when previously it was pretty crystal clear. I'll say, just in the last 24 hours, Jonathan, there's been a lot of movement across civil society. The American Medical Association, with 78 medical societies, came together and vociferously backed existing guidelines for seasonal vaccines against COVID, RSV, flu. American Health Insurance Plans, AHIP for short, said that their member health insurance plans are going to continue reimbursements and coverage for vaccines. So it's important to recognize that there's movement around what's happening with ACIP.
Yeah, and Richard, I mean, it can't be overstated some of the worries about the change in the vaccination approach from this government. We know Senator Cassidy from Louisiana, a doctor, said he got assurances from Robert F. Kennedy Jr. that he wouldn't change anything. Well, turned out that wasn't the case.
Exactly what Jonathan, what I want to ask Dr. Havers. What is the bottom line here? What are we talking about in terms of the consequences? Either in terms of if the existing guidelines are somehow changed, modified, whatever the word is, weakened, and also in terms of new vaccines in the pipeline. What are the consequences of what is going on in Washington? What's your answer to the why should we care? What's the so what answer to this?
So not only is the CDC immunization schedule critical for providers and to know what vaccines to give, but insurance coverage depends on it. By law, if it's on the CDC immunization schedule, insurance companies have to cover it. So in addition, the ACIP, this advisory committee, is the one that recommends what vaccines are covered by the Vaccine for Children's program, which provides pre-vaccines to millions of children. So if RFK Jr. continues to interfere with this process, and people who have anti-vaccine views are the ones making recommendations, and they recommend to restrict and change the CDC schedule so that certain vaccines are no longer recommended, insurance won't cover it. So if you're a parent and they vote to remove certain childhood vaccines that are safe and effective, you could end up in a situation in a year where you take your toddler to the pediatrician, they want to give you a vaccine, but your insurance will no longer pay for it, or you won't be able to receive it free like you would now. And the direct consequences of that is that more people are going to die. Vaccine preventable diseases are increasing in the United States. Since HHS Secretary RFK Jr. has been in his position, we've seen 2 children die from measles, which was eliminated in this country. I think we will potentially see, if they restrict access to vaccines, we're going to see more vaccine preventable deaths.
Let's just simply
That's not an
underscore.
exaggeration.
No, let's underscore that point right now. What you just said. More people are going to die.
Yes.
Dr. Fiona Havers, thank you so much. We really appreciate you being here this morning. Dr. Gupta, that's obviously those words echo in the air and really concerning. We'll also want to turn you now in our closing moments about another serious matter, which is extreme heat, which we, of course, see more and more here in the U.S. and around the world, thanks to climate change. Give us your concerns. We're just coming out of this dangerous heat wave here in the East Coast, but I'm sure there will be more. What are your worries? How can people take care of themselves?
Well, Jonathan, I know we don't have a lot of time here, so just quick tips here for your viewers, reminders here. Wear a hat. Even if you have a full head of hair, wear a hat. It's going to protect against unnecessary sun exposure. Put on sunscreen, look for broad spectrum on the label. It protects against all forms of ultraviolet light, SPF 30 minimum. Use the lotion form and hydrate. Skim milk is the most hydrating fluid you can actually drink, more so than even water. Skim milk, if you can do it. And then check on your elderly neighbors, anybody that may be a child in your home or around you. Fatigue, just weak acting, altered are the early signs of heat exhaustion.
NBC News medical contributor Dr. Vin Gupta, thank you for those wise words. We appreciate it, and we'll talk to you again soon. Coming up here, we'll turn back to the NATO summit and Secretary General Mark Rutte's